Oh my God, I got too many things in my lap. Shit. Okay. I don't know what I'm going to title this video because I'm going to be all over the place. This has been sitting so heavy on my mind, okay? Now I'm going to start this with a big joke of the community. Why didn't someone tell me that the Centennial Rider Waite is fucking superior? And it's a joke because you guys have been. You guys all have said that the Centennial, if you can't get your hands on those really expensive, like Pam A or whatever the hell those are called, then the Centennial is like the best thing you can possibly buy. This witchy looking, this witchy woman at a yard sale handed me the Aquarian Tarot for free. The images never jived. Okay, I've explained this before in another video. I think it was my first last always video. I'll leave it up here for you if you want to check out, my first last always decks. But I kind of put it away. I was like, I can't really, there was no guidebook. At the time, I didn't even know how to do those types of searches on my computer. So I guess I wasn't in the wanting to learn stage of the, wanting to learn tarot yet. And it wasn't until like a few years later that I had found the deck in like a nightstand drawer that I was like, oh my God, why haven't I learned how to do tarot cards? Like, as someone as witchy as myself, I need to find something divinatory to do. So I picked up this Rider Waite from probably a bookstore or something for like, there might be a price on here still. I think this was like $8.99 at the Barnes & Noble back when I bought it. And smells like sage. And I think it's like there's some like old incense oil. Incense smoke and essential oils that were on my hands and things embedded into these cards. Like, these are the general plaid backs, like the cheap. They've got the 1971 copyright on them, and like the images are kind of stark, and you don't have Pamela Coleman Smith's calligraphy on here. But I've never liked the plaid backs because they was just like, if I wanted to wear a grandpa shirt with my tarot decks, I would. It just seemed kind of like an afterthought, But anyway, the coloration on this particular Rider Waite Smith deck is stark, It's not as good as other editions. I can say that this edition is not the best edition. But this is most people's first deck. Like, it just is what it is. People buy this cheapy Rider Waite Smith because so much of the community is based off the Rider Waite. And, like, look at this, like, little imp. Like, I call this an imp. Like, somebody tell me what this is. And, like, the Sphinx, like, blends into the sky in the background. And some of these images, like, look, this, you can't even tell that these are flowers. It just looks like, focus. Focus, camera. There you go. Well, it just did. Maybe it's not. Oh, there it goes. I have to cover my face up. I tell you, Will at Atypical Tarot has video shit going down. I've got cards everywhere in my lap. Okay. Anyway, some of these, the images just like, some of the images blend in with the backgrounds and stuff. In one, I think it was like the seven. The something of Pentacles where, the 7. Like, his freaking face and hands are like the same color as his tunic, and his boots are 2 different colors. Like, what the hell is up with this, right? It just seems to be so generated in a way that, like I said, it's an afterthought. But this is my mother deck, for real. Like, I learned tarot with this and all that, and I never want to get rid of it. But it wasn't until a few years ago, like, so I've had this in my possession for like 15 years, and I kind of learned with it slowly over time. I guess to not intimidate myself with tarot in general. So I learned it like over the course of several years, tarot, and then, you know, I'm still learning and everything. But it wasn't until a couple of years ago that this new deck had come out that was from, I think, Spirit Imports. And it was a linen finish. Linen. Spirit Imports came out with this, and I don't even know if they're like in the right in terms of copyright. I think the images themselves are in the like in public domain, but I was never certain about Pixie's font, Pixie's calligraphy. But anyway, here's the backs. I think that now they have like several backs, and if I can find, if they're still out making decks and stuff, I'll leave an Amazon link for them below. But I picked this up for $13, which is like, you know, and in tarot terms, that it reminded me of buying this. You know, it was just like it was going to be a cheapy version. But I saw someone, I think it was Rachel over the Cackling Moon, she did a walkthrough, like Spirit Imports sent her the deck and wanted her to review it, and she was like, oh, this linen finish is so great, and the images are really good, and the font is really done well. And I know there's so many comparisons on everyone's channel, but this is about a whole other deck than what I'm showing you right now, so just wait. But that was the backs, and so the coloration on this deck compared to my original rider was so good. Like, and the starkness didn't bother me, but the lines in which the color is made were clearer. I can actually tell these are irises. Like, you can actually see the fish on his necklace. This is the King of Cups. You can actually see the little fish on his necklace, like it's a medallion hanging there, you know? Like, yeah, I'm the fishy king of the world. And then, I don't know if you'll be able to tell here in this light, but that linen finish is pretty cool. But I'm going to tell you something. This cardstock, when I think about my original rider deck, this plaid back, pretty, I mean, it's cardboard, but it's pretty sturdy, right? Barely even chipping after, actually, there's probably hardly any chipping on this. Okay, and then look at the edges of this. I mean, some of them are ripped, some of them are just, and I'm pretty severe on my decks, actually. You can see the marks where my finger goes, because I'm pretty damn severe with my riffle shuffling. Like, I'm just bend it to, you know, and then when I want to overhand just for to generate some muscle memory, you know, it's like, I just you know, just with the deck. So this has gotten beat up a lot more than my original, right? But I liked the backs, this like compass rose type of a thing. Plus, I always felt left out, that I couldn't connect with Pixie's calligraphy. I mean, when I look at her calligraphy, I think about her making the card. It kind of links me in a way that I didn't even know was cool, like would be cool in my practice. So having her font on these, it kind of makes me feel like a genuine, like I know what I'm talking about now. Like I'm not just somebody that, you know, is going through Abercrombie and Fitch, or what is that store, Anthropology, Urban Outfitters, and just buying a deck because it looks cool sitting on the counter, you know, like whatever. That I'm actually in this. So I really did feel more connected to the tarot having Pixie's, you know, calligraphy on here. So that was cool. And I've used this, I put this away as like a keepsake in a drawer. As like I'll probably get it out when I really need to sit with my mother deck, okay? But I've exclusively been using this in terms of the rider deck and, you know, the Spirit Imports. But then, oh, and just for a clarifier here. Flimsy, flimsy, okay? But then I was buying books. because I do that so much. I was buying books and I saw the Centennial. So the actual deck, the actual Centennial, like with the border, because the border looked great, but there's something about the border that it just, on the Rider deck, it looks the best to me. Plus they had to stretch the images to make it borderless, and I was like, it just would look a little different, and I want it to look kind of the same. So I bought it. It was kind of cheap. I think I bought it for $14. And it came Amazon Prime 2 days, right? And I opened it, and immediately I noticed the cardstock, right? Pretty sure everyone does this. It's like the exact same as my plaid bags. First off the rip, okay? And then I'm gonna get a few cards out of my original. Okay, this is the original cheap Rider Waite that everyone buys. Okay, the colors on this is what I learned with, right? And that's great, all fine and good. But then look at these, right? It's kind of muted. They're kind of muted, right? They're not as stark, you know, they're not as primary. And it made me think of old manuscripts, and it made it feel old to me. And I mean, look at these. Like, it's not stark white, it's not stark blue. It kind of looks a little bespeckled almost, and you know, kind of looks like actual watercolors even. And it's not just like, this isn't stark black. There's like speckled in places. Like, look at the sky. It just kind of looks like handmade paper, to be honest with you. And the whole vibe of the Centennial edition filled me with vibes of, this is an ancient book that I'm going to learn with, you know? And that's what you need with the tarot. You need it to spark something in your imagination and into your intuition. And the muted tones of this Centennial, okay? Plus it has Pixie's calligraphy, you know? The lines are just so beautiful on this deck. And I was flipping through it and I was using it, and I did some, you know, I did some spreads with it, and I just did like the normal tarot shit with it. And I kept thinking, why didn't anyone tell me this? I was like, why has no one ever said that the Centennial is the best edition? And I realized that y'all had been. The whole tarot community has been talking about this since the damn thing came out. Like, look at this Judgment card. It's not as stark as the one in the plaid, you know? Let's get an actual comparison. Like I said, I know that every tarot channel has done this on their channel, but I just felt jilted. I felt jilted. I was like, where the fuck has this deck been my whole life? Literally, where the hell has this thing been? Like, okay, just for a little bit of a thing. Look at the marks here. I didn't make those. They look like marks of a paintbrush, right? Ugh. It does. The whole deck feels like it's part of this ancient manuscript, and I loved that about it. I mean, it's almost like you could see the lines, you know, that she made. And even though it may not be, it's just like, you know, computer generated. So here are them side by side. Ooh, what's happening there? Oh, they're not straight lines. They're drawn black lines. Okay. But anyway, so this is the plaid and this is the Centennial. I mean, and then you can see the lines, like, you know, how she did the scratch technique in terms of shading. You can actually see them a lot better here, but they made the effort to make this look more like fabric instead of just like, you know, when you go into that computer app Paint, and you can just hit the paint pale and it just colors everything within the lines. That's what happened in this deck, in the plaid back. They just drew the lines and then they just paint canned the whole damn thing one color. And I didn't even know that I would like to have the more muted. There was more effort involved, you know? Even if there wasn't totally more effort involved, who knows? It looks like it. But I just felt so jilted. I was like, what is happening here? Not to mention the fact that this deck is a dream to shuffle. Ugh. Ugh. I haven't even done this. Oh. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say today. I just wanted to tell you that I feel jilted and that I feel completely left out, that I didn't buy this years ago when it came out, that I've been using this cheapy Spirit Imports deck and beating the hell out of it and staining it with, I guess I had some kind of incense, I keep saying that, essential oils on my hands. That's the only reason that my fingers would have stained these, because that's exactly kind of where my finger would go when I do this, you know, when I'm riffle shuffling. So that's kind of weird sitting there. I mean, like, look how dirty that looks. Anyway, it did get dirty. It got stained, and a lot of the cards are kind of ripping at the edges because I beat them the hell up. Like, let's get my face out of there so it'll damn focus. But anyway, it's like, how many rider decks do we need? Now, I'm not talking in terms of collecting, okay? Simon over at the Hermit's Cave. We know that you've got a huge wall full of tarot decks, and we love you for that. And you fill us with so much envy, and you come at it with so much grace, collecting all these decks, and that's a beautiful thing. I'm not a collector, and as a non-collector, I kept feeling I don't need another fucking Rider Waite deck. Do I need another Rider deck? And it wasn't until I got my hands on this damn Centennial for no reason. I don't know what was calling me to hit the buy now button for this, because I'm not really one of those that needs multiple copies of the same deck. I mean, they'll all read the exact same. But no, they won't. This, it makes me feel ancient. It makes me feel like I'm slinging cards in the 15th century, you know? Like, I mean, it's not really. This came out in 1910, you know, but it just makes me feel like I should be in Victorian London, and it's foggy, and I'm wearing one of those beautiful corseted dresses with this big thick cloak on, and you know, people come to me in secret to get their cards read. So this deck fills me with that feeling of being a card reader. And so I just wanted to come on and ramble about that for a second. So, happy Tarot Tuesday. Let me know in the comments what you are doing today, and if you got your hands on this deck, and what it makes you feel like, or your favorite Rider Waite, and how many you have. Tell me it all. And have a blessed day. Hope to see everyone again on the channel. Much love.